Oh, thank God. Okay, good. The right slide's up. Hi, everybody watching all across the country. My name is Mike Bjorkman, broker owner of HomeSmart in Northridge, California and Valencia, California. Thanks for joining us, whether you're in the real estate business or just a sales business. Have fun, relax, enjoy, and I'm always available to answer your questions, too. All right, we got that out of the way. So today, we talk about the holidays. It's unbelievable to think about this, right? Here's what I know from being in the business as many years as I do. You're like busy, 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 summer, yeah, Labor Day, woo-hoo, party on the boat, pounding beers, doing whatever you want. And then all of a sudden it's Halloween, you're like, oh, I should have done the pumpkin carving contest. I should have given out all the bags. I should have done this. And you're like, oh my gosh, so you try to hurry up and do that. And the next thing you know, what happens? Now everybody's giving turkeys away and pies, and you're like, oh, I'm such a loser agent, I didn't do any of that. And, you know, I got my 4 escrows, and So being in the business as long as I have, this takes methodic planning. The holidays suck for a lot of real estate agents because they get negativity. The market slows down a little bit, but if you put some energy and activity into it, it explodes. My favorite little trophy I have at my private office in Newhall, it's a little trophy from RE/MAX, and it's the year 1996. And a lot of you don't know about the year 1996, but I was in the business by myself, no assistants. It was my first year really out on my own without a team. And I sold 12 houses in December. And I was the #1 agent at RE/MAX for the month. And they gave me this like totally cheesy little trophy. But I saved it because it has the year on it, has my name on it, and it says 12 sales. So agents come to me all the time, and they say, but it's the holidays, it's slow, da-da-da-da-da. Well, 12 sales in our market today, not way back then, the prices were a third, that added up to over $100,000 in commissions in today's money. Not bad for a month, right? So it's possible. I mean, I was very new in the business. I barely knew my scripts. I barely knew dialogues. I didn't have a lot of good training. I was at a company that didn't train us, so I didn't know what to do. But I was able to do that just because I was working for sale by owners, expireds, door knocking, open houses, and running print advertising, and I did that a lot. So every time somebody says you can't sell homes in December, I like to hold that up. So if anybody says your market slows, say no, it is the very best time. So I want to talk about a vision board. We probably haven't done a vision board around here in a long time. A vision board is you take your hopes, your dreams, your goals, your aspirations, you put them up on the board, right? Cut them out of magazines, print things out of the internet. I want you guys to do this. It's one of the most powerful exercises you can do. I know Julie's been talking about doing a class here, and we will eventually after this series is over, but there's no reason to wait, right? You could easily Google up vision board, or dream board, some people call it. It's especially important during the holidays, and I'd ask you to do a custom one. When I say by custom, what do you want to do? You guys maybe saw the email I sent out the other day. It said, no matter what you do today, it's going to directly affect your holiday season. Now, you could have a holiday season sitting in your house on Christmas Eve wishing you were at Disneyland with your family, or wishing you were at Cabo, doing all these things, but you're like, oh, crap. When Mike said that in September, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. You could pick it either way. I mean, ask Andy. Andy, 2 years ago, we were in Cabo for 7 days. Was it cool to see a Santa Claus in flip-flops? I mean, we went smashed right through Christmas, and we were in a frickin' 5,000 square foot suite. We had a jacuzzi on the deck, and that's because I did what I was supposed to do in September. So I don't know what your goals are, but make your goals make your vision board for the holidays. If you have a kid and they want a new motorcycle, put that up there. If you want a new car for your spouse, put that up there. Those are things that you see every day when you walk into your office. I keep mine in my closet. My wife keeps hers in her closet, so every time we go in our closet, we see that. And it's interesting to watch when you really do what you're supposed to do, how you can start checking those things off, making a bigger and better thing. I use Tammy. I don't know where Tammy's at today. She's on my team. She manages our team. When she first got in the real estate business, we made a vision board in here together. And within 1 year, it was like 90% done. She'd bought a new house. She'd bought a new car. She sent her kids to college. Everything she dreamed of, in 1 year, everything happened. And we're looking at this vision board going, holy moly. All right, you get it? Okay, so if you really want to truly remind yourself, you have to see it daily. So I would recommend you do that. Talking with your family is huge. We talk about this in the mindset class. We talk about this in the goal setting, the brand, everything. You need to sit your spouse down, your kids down, your mom, your grandma, whoever has an impact on your life and that you're around every day. You sit them down tonight over dinner and say, look, this holiday season is going to be a little bit different. We're going to be doing a little bit more work than we did last year, but it's going to be okay because we're going to meet our goals. You might even want to have your spouse or family member on board with your vision board. So if you guys say, hey, how would you like to go to Walt Disney World through the holidays? Get them all on board and tell them, look, we're going to be making some sacrifices. It's not going to be that painful, but we're going to do things that other agents can't or won't. All right. So that way your family's on board. So when you say, hey, I need to do an open house Saturday and Sunday this weekend, they get it. They can't wait to go to Walt Disney World, right? And if you did an open house every Saturday and Sunday, I guarantee you can afford to take your family to Walt Disney World or whatever your heart desires. Is that making sense? All right, you liking this so far? Yes. All right, let's move on. Start a plan now. So what I would do is I would get something similar to your perfect daily schedule and print it out. What's the next holiday we have? Labor Day. How many cool ideas can you come up with, right? You can have a end of summer party. You can, who knows, it doesn't matter. Celebrate what the holiday is. Then we have Halloween. Then we have Thanksgiving. Then we have Christmas. So we're supposed to do something every month. Every week we do 2 community events. Let's start thinking that and planning that. Get your vendors, your friends, all the people involved. Get them on board. Get your calendar. I have such a problem with my calendar. I'm looking at my October right now. I am on a plane 3 out of 4 weeks. I'm gone. But now I have to rely on the team to make sure this stuff is going to happen because our calendars fill up. But if we put the stuff on our calendars, we can make it happen, right? You know, what if we did a client event where we had a pumpkin carving contest? We had, you know, if the parents bring their kids, they get 4 big bags of candy. And see what I'm doing here? Opening up their minds for our client events. So then we have our holiday season. What are you going to do? You can have a turkey giveaway. You can have a pumpkin giveaway. You can send out gift certificates, or you can have a client event. We can have client events here in this office, at the Northridge office, where clients come in and they pick up stuff. There's the ideas and the possibilities are endless. But what happens is you're the only agent doing this, except for very high-level agents, and people, you stand out. People notice you, and they go, wow, Mike Bjorkman is doing things that other agents can or won't during the holidays. It doesn't slow down. Right? A couple years ago, HomeSmart was super active around the holidays. We did this food drive. We loaded up my moving van 2 or 3 times. Zach and Sherry had a huge successful event at the mall. We blew it up with social media. It was crazy, the craziest holidays I've ever seen. The food pantry actually said to me, Mike, we are full. Just hold on, no more. So we started giving to other charities, and we were everywhere. We were on TV. We were in the newspaper. We were blowing it up, and it was so much fun. So think about those sorts of things, but plan now. If you don't plan now, I promise you you're going to wake up and you're going to be in a costume going, how did this happen to me? How did I screw this up? Client events, we're talking about that. We're supposed to do 4 a year, right? So we still have to plan at least 1. I don't know why we can't do several. You could do a holiday cocktail party for the adults and your single clients, and then you can do the Santa thing for the kids. There's so many different variations of client events. If you need a list of ideas for client events, come see me. We have a Trello card just packed with them. I mean, there's so many different ideas. They don't have to be expensive. You can have your lender and a couple other people participate in just a holiday pizza party. No big deal. What do you call those goofy gifts exchanges? The white elephant thing. Like, people like that stuff. I personally can't stand it. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't even want to see these people, but they work. You will get lots of leads. You will get tons of business from it. Geographical farm. How many of you guys have a geographical farm? 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's a weird number. Most agents always think they have one, and everybody usually raises their hand. So I appreciate your honesty. So for a geographical farm, and if you guys want to have a class on that, remind me and just kind of poke at me a little bit. I'll put it on the calendar. But a geographical farm is so much fun, and especially during the holidays. Think of all the things that you could do to create that. There's nothing wrong with having a neighborhood event, a neighborhood blank. It doesn't have to be just your past clients. What if you only have 2 past clients in a very small sphere? It's okay to have super neighborhood events. You could have the Team Bjorkman Christmas light contest. The winner will get blank. You can have the Halloween contest, and you can sponsor that at the community center or something before everybody goes trick-or-treating and give out prizes and candy, whatever. Right? You get the idea? You could have your turkey drawings and turkey giveaways for your neighborhood. Your geographical farm is such a great time to take advantage. You guys may or may not have heard the story. One of my coaching clients bet me I couldn't have a geographical farm in less than 6 months. We took our price range from $500 to $1 million in a matter of 90 days from some of the stuff we did, and it was very, very easy. So if you focused energy on the holidays during your geographical farm, people are emotional during the holidays, right? Kids, family, get-togethers, all that stuff. Their sensory, everything about their sensory is open during the holidays. If you give somebody a gift during the holidays, they're like, oh, I love it's so sweet. Why don't we get together more, right? How many times in the holidays have you heard, why don't we get together during the year more? That's because they're all emotional during the holidays. It's crazy. All right, so let's talk a little bit listings. So many people during the holidays are worried about buyers. Don't worry about buyers. You want to worry about listings. Everything you do in this industry, period, in my opinion, should be going after listings. People who want to sell, especially those people that want to sell and then buy another one, right? Two sells better than one. Would you agree? Say yes. Okay. So focus on listings. That's why I like going back to the geographical farm. That's why I like going to the past clients that have already bought, your sphere of influence that already own. Try to drive your contest towards listings. If you're going to have a USP, when you sell your house, you get blank. Does that make sense? I don't think we need to beat that up because I do it a lot, right? Holiday themes and open houses. Okay, turn your cell phones off, you guys. Oh, my God. Did that really just happen? Yes, that was mine. That never happened. My face get red? Oh, yeah, I'll donate $20 to the charity, jeez. All right, open house themes are fun. Decorate your open house signs. Decorate the houses for open houses. Knock on every door in the neighborhood and say, we're giving away a 100-pound pumpkin. You know when you see those super huge pumpkins? And remember when you were a kid, you're like, dude, what do I have to do to have a pumpkin like that? Not a big deal. If you need to know where to get those, we have a hookup on those. You guys might remember a couple years ago we did, actually last year I think it was, we did the pumpkin drive for the Single Mothers Outreach. I filled the entire moving van with pumpkins and they came and collected them. That was really cool. So I still have all the pumpkin contacts. So whatever you need for open houses, do it. There's so many reasons why people will go, come by. Tammy and I last year did one in my neighborhood, and we did cocoa and little gifts and all kinds of goofy stuff, and I swear we had 60, 70 people in the first hour. And that was the very first open house I did since I was like 29. And I just wanted to prove that all the tricks and all the technology still worked. So at the 100th person that walked through the door, I was able to say, all right, this stuff still works. So think about themes during your open houses. We have a listing on Briars right now. Johnny, how many times have you held that open?
5.
5 times. Has the same 5 people come every time?
No.
Has it always been productive?
Yes.
Okay. So some people say, I don't want to do an open house Saturday and Sunday. Why? Well, it's weird. Everybody's already come by. No. There's different people, different days, driving around doing different things. One day people might not even notice a sign. The next day they will. If a neighbor starts seeing you do open houses a lot, and I'll just use you again since you're sitting right here, can you tell the story of what just happened with the neighbor?
On Monday,
Monday open house, okay?
The lady first stopped and then asked me, you do open houses on a Monday? And I said, yes, working with Team Bjorkman, we're dedicated, and we do open houses every day of the week. And in doing so, all of a sudden, her face changed, and then she came in. It was almost as if it was an interview. She sat down with me for a half an hour. Turns out that she has multiple properties to sell, multiple properties for both her and her family to buy, and potentially a business that they're considering selling. All from doing an open house on a Monday. And that alone was, I think it was 6 transactions?
6 transactions on a Monday, adding up to how many? I know we know that's over $60,000. And I tell my clients all the time across the country, do an open house during the weekday. No, no, no. Another interesting story. Friday, we're doing an open house, a broker's open house for the Castaic higher end. I forget who. Somebody sent me an email, said, would you like to be part of a progressive open house? Of course, there's going to be drawings for the agents. I hope you guys all go there. They're going to advertise it, whatnot, and there's a drawing. More importantly, we're going to hold it open for the public. And I started thinking about this last night because the email was going around from Tammy, who wants to do this open house, and I thought of something. When Wendy Gundry, maybe she's watching, worked with me back in the day, a long time ago, probably 10, 15 years ago, she said, I don't want to do an open house on Friday. And those of you that heard the story, I'm sorry, I forced it down her throat, and I said, you will do an open house with you on Friday, and I'll do it with you. We did every single thing on my podcast. If you guys haven't listened to that, make sure you have realestatemarketingshow.com, part 1 and 2. It's such a lengthy podcast. It's 2 hours long on how to do it right. So anyways, this all came full circle to me. This was so long ago, it made me think the house that I was talking about with Wendy, we double-ended it, and we sold like 2 or 3 other homes in the neighborhood in 1 week. We made like $100,000 in 2 weeks off this one open house. And I started thinking, It's the same floor plan, and it's on a Friday as the house we're doing. So I'm like, oh, I got the chills. I'm like, let's duplicate this thing. It was awesome. It made the whole difference in our month. Okay, what else do we have? Study the holiday scripts. Do we all know the holiday scripts? No. Okay, good. That would have really ruined this for me. Expired and for sale by owners. During the holidays, agents stop calling them. They do. Agents like to Christmas shop and start drinking brandy and shop and visit and do all the goofy things, but good agents are out there like lions. I'm going to get you. For sale by owners, if properly trained and educated why they should list during the holidays, they do. Expireds that expired during the summer, and they're like, oh, we're going to wait till the spring. If you could properly educate them why they should be on the market in the winter, amazing things happen. Now, back way when I was brand new, remember, I didn't have any clients, I didn't have any business, I didn't have anything. So every day, expireds for sale by owners. So I can tell you and stand here and say, look, at least 1 or 2 transactions a month from each one of these things. And during the holidays is the absolute best time. All right. Use statistics and presentations. Nobody does this, and this is what I love about it. And you guys will stand out like you will not believe right now. When you're talking to people about listing during the holidays, it's absolutely crucial you have your statistics. So you pull last year, you pull the year before and the year before. Go back 3 years. Go from October through, say, January 31st, something like that, a 3-month time period. Run the statistics in all the areas, all the price ranges. So when Johnny tells me, Mike, it's the holidays, there's no buyers out there, I say, hold on. The last 3 years will show you that 55 homes sold in November, 65 sold in December, in January had 100 and something. And they'll be like, whoa. And you say, this is straight from the MLS. This isn't something I just typed up. This is accurate data that I can show you. Would you like me to show you how I ran this data? Now, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you knew you can get a higher price and a quicker, more convenient timeline by listing in the holidays, would that make sense to do now? Yeah, right? So we have to be super different than most agents with our presentations. Statistics, and you guys know me. Am I analytical? No. I don't even know how to run the statistics. I don't. But I know how to get them, right? So there we go. Use testimonials as well. Testimonials, third party, that's the way to go. That's how we get a lot of business, right? If somebody says, hey, Mike Bjorkman did a great job for me, chances are I don't have to interview very much. That's usually how it works. So you can have 3 on a flyer or in a PowerPoint presentation. You know what? Mrs. Jones said the same thing last year. I got her full price, and it was 2 days before Christmas. And here's what she said. Mike Bjorkman got me full price 2 days before Christmas. I can't believe I was going to wait till spring. What an idiot I was. Feel free to call me to hear about the experience with her cell phone number. If you had 3 or 4 of those, or even better yet, got video of that and promoted that and used that, could that be helpful in helping other people make the decision to sell and move during the holidays? It's a great time. It's active. So I want to motivate you guys to be super, laser focused on the holidays. There's no reason. We're not in Chicago where real estate shuts down because there's 10 feet of snow. You guys know how lucky we are to be in Southern California. And I know my friends watching, I know you're yelling at me right now, but we sell houses all year round. But perfect example. I'm so smart. About 10 years ago, I bought a rental property in Spokane, Washington, a condo. No big deal. We closed like November 1st, and I'm yelling at my property manager. Oh, and they took like 10 grand less, and it was only like a $100,000 condo. I'm like, well, I got a great deal, da-da-da. And the property manager's like, did you really close escrow in November? Nobody moves in 6 feet of snow in Spokane, Washington. You were the dumbest person ever. I had to wait all the way till April to rent this thing out. It was real. So some people do have seasonal real estate, but here we don't, so we're very lucky. Okay. USPs. Now, I didn't have time to fiddle with this slide this morning. I just want to remind you how important unique selling propositions are. For anybody that closes home in December, I will donate $500 of our commission to the charity of your choice in your name, right? I use that every year. People love it. That particular slide is actually in our actual Team Bjorkman listing presentation, and I got that from our HomeSmart marketing. I just happened to put our local charities in there. Okay, so what kind of USPs can you think about for that? There's tons of them out there. If you list your home with me during December, I'll pay a professional to put your Christmas lights up. Don't know about you? I don't like doing that. Andy, when's the last time we put Christmas lights up? Why? Because I said, boys, you're all excited. You're all in the holiday season. If we're going to have Christmas lights, you perfectly good teenagers are going to put them up. I don't think we've had Christmas lights for the last 3 years. I have to personally go do the yard decorations and stuff, but I punish them. I say, if you're too lazy, we're not going to have lights. If somebody came to me with that USP, and if I was selling my house anyways, I'd be like, sweet Bjorkman, put my lights up, right? And there's other ones for November. You can say, I'll pay for your entire family Thanksgiving if you close in the month of November, or list in the month of November. I will pay for all your Halloween decorations and give you a gift certificate to the Halloween store for blah, blah, blah. Can you think of some on your own? Could these be little things that help people make good decisions about listing during the holidays? Wouldn't that be fun to do things that other agents can or won't do? Okay? Are you guys taking good notes? Can you think we can pull some of this off as a team and make HomeSmart go crazy this holiday season? I think we can. All right. So let's go over these real quick, courtesy from Mike Ferry. Now, since I was 18 years old, these are the same scripts I've used. They work every year. They're not new for this year, I promise you. They work. So let's go through them quickly. Julie is going to offer these to us afterwards, so you don't have to take pictures. I think she's going to upload them in the file section of the HomeSmart Facebook group. For those of you watching on TV, just email me or Julie after, and I'll make sure we send you it. All right. What time is it?
11:23.
Perfect timing. All right. People that look for a home during the holidays are more serious. True or true?
True.
Right? Don't even need to explain that one. Serious buyers have fewer houses to choose from during the holidays, and less competition means more money for you. True or true? This is what I love about scripts and dialogues. They're all true. There's less inventory during the holidays. There's at least 20 people that no matter what scripts I give them won't list during the holidays. But there's another 10 to 20 that do. So those houses aren't on the market. Since the supply of listings will dramatically increase in January, there'll be less demand for your particular home. Less demand means less money for you. True or true? Okay. So every year, and I hate to pick on Andy so much, but it's rare that my sons are around when I have these classes. Andy, am I miserable during the holidays? I am pissed. I'm calling people every day. New Year's Eve, Happy New Year's Eve. Can I come over and list your home? And I'm just like, oh. So here's the script that I use because I know it happens. And this is real. It happens every year. I don't know what it is. January 15th, the phone rings off the hook. People are out of town. They have their Christmas. They come back. The Christmas tree stays up. They take it down on the 7th. They're tired. They're exhausted. They start cleaning up needles and finishing everything. For the week of the 15th, January 15th, the phone rings off the hook. I'm sitting there in my car, ready with cell phone. Come on, guys, call. And we just start listing homes like crazy. It's like Christmas for me on January 15th. So I tell these people, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, one of the benefits of listing during the holidays is on January 15th, there's going to be 10 of you on the market. What if one of those 10 had RV parking, a view, more of a kitchen and bathroom remodel? What if these houses had better options than yours has? Do you think the buyers will choose those if they're priced competitively over yours? Yes. You have 10 to choose from. Buyers have all different wants and needs, wish lists, and have-to-haves. So if you don't have a couple of things they really want and you're the only one on the market, they will buy your home. Remember, serious buyers during the holidays? So I always say that. Houses show better when decorated for the holidays. I'll argue this. People clutter up their houses like crazy. I can't stand it. But some amiable people love holiday decorations. Fine, I'll let that go. Buyers are more emotional during the holidays. We just talked about that, so they're more likely to pay your price. If somebody says, oh my God, honey, look at where the tree is. I can just feel the family love in here. Look at, they have little Johnny's stockings all over. I want little Billy to grow up in this house too. And the seller's like, oh, we love, oh, dude, trust me. Buyers are more freaking emotional during the holidays. Buyers have more time to look at homes during the holidays. This is true. If you're not careful with your buyers, they'll run you ragged. Because, like, if they're not in retail, they're like, no, no, no. People get 2 weeks, 3 weeks off during the holidays. Companies completely shut down. Rich people say, I don't even want to deal with my stupid employees. Let's just shut down at December 20th, come back January 10th. And I'm like, oh, man, now they just want to see houses all day. It's like ridiculous, but it's true. Some people must buy before the end of the year for tax reasons. Bill Friedman, is that true? Okay, so true or true? True, he said. All right. January is traditionally the month for employees to begin new jobs. Since transferees cannot wait till spring to buy, you must be on the market to capture that market. I know that's true. I do reload for Ford. Nestle, a bunch of big companies, and a lot of people say, hey, look, they're giving me the whole month of December to move, get settled into my new home in January, and I'm fired up. So if you're not working relo, you might not know about this, but that is very true. You can still be on the market, but you have the option to restrict showings during the holidays. If you don't know this script very well, you are dead. Because there's always that lady who says, oh no, you should see, I have baking powder all over the walls. There's no way my house is going to be clean. Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you knew, not one person would bug you. From December 20th to January 1st, would you feel better? Yes. See, what we have is the ability to go in the computer and put your home on hold. I'll still market it. I'll still be looking for buyers and creating that interest list for the day we go back on the market. So look, you can pick the days. I don't care what days. I understand you have a family and you have things going on. But I'm going to accommodate you. As a matter of fact, I'll take the lockbox off your house so there's no oopses. Fair enough? Oh, I didn't know you could do that, Mike. All right, where do I sign? Is that good? You guys got to know that. Let's see. You can sell now for more money. We'll provide you for delayed closing or extended occupancy. That is another one. People say, I refuse to move during the holidays. My mom's coming into town. Our kids are coming home from college. Don't even stress it. I'll just make sure there's a longer escrow or make sure you rent back. If you don't give these people options, they don't know. So they just think it's a big hassle, right? And then the last one, by selling now, you may have an opportunity to be a non-contingent buyer during the spring when more houses are on the market for less money. This will allow you to sell high and buy low. True or true? If you get your home sold in January 15th, all these houses pop up on the market and you're in escrow. All these other ones haven't popped up yet. Now those people have to sell before they buy. If you find the right home, you can go ahead and close escrow in a nice, timely manner and win. Okay. Do we like these? Yes. I'm not kidding when I said I've been using these since I was 18 years old. They don't change. They work. Can you guys come up with more? If you do, I want to hear about it because we'll add them to this list. Cool? All right. So with that being said, let's get into a little bit of why a lot of you are here today. I'll give you a little bit of a story. Two stories real quick. So I'm doing pretty good. You know, we start making a lot of money. In 1996, I told you the story about we started making a lot of money. And I wasn't set up properly with the accountant. I literally had a dude that worked part-time and did his taxes and gave me these little deductions, and I was spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in paying taxes. Until I got the proper accountant, you had no idea what I was setting up. Some of you may know, a good friend of mine, I hope she might be watching. I'm just going to say her name's Christina. She's in the Bay Area. And she is a big REO agent, and she owns a HomeSmart office. And she called me one day in tears and said, look, I can't handle this anymore. I don't know what to do. I'm paying so much money in taxes. I'm just going to quit real estate. She actually said, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard people say, I don't want to make more money because I'm just paying it all in taxes. Broke my heart. Hooked her up with my CPA. 1 year, she saved $100,000 in taxes. 1 year. This girl's clearly making $1 million or more a year. And I looked at her P&L. I looked at her taxes. I'm like, this is ridiculous. She didn't have a corporation, none of that stuff. So fast forward a little bit. Today, I pay less money in taxes than most people that work at McDonald's because I have the proper professionals in my realm. So Bill Friedman's been a friend for a long time. He's been a CPA for how many years, Bill? 30 years. Do you think he might know something? Now, I'm not sure if I can say, but I'm sure he does the top 1, 2, and 3 agents in the entire Santa Clarita Valley's taxes. Okay? So he might know a little bit about how to help you guys out. So Bill, come up. Welcome. Give him a HomeSmart welcome. Thank you.
Thank you
so much
for inviting me here today.
Thank you. It means the world to me. Now, just so you know, this guy has an extreme hourly rate. So pay very close attention and give him your attention.
That's not true, by the way. I take pride in how little I keep my fees. So don't scare these people away already. But the one thing I got to disagree with Mike right off the bat is how many people in here would love to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes? There you go. Me too, believe me. That's not a bad thing. But my job is to make sure that you pay your legally required minimum amount of taxes. You work hard for your money. You need to keep as much as possible in your pocket for yourself. And being real estate agents, it's actually very important to claim all the tax deductions that are available to you. And why is that? Especially for real estate agents, It's because you're one of the few professions that I still know of that is statutorily considered independent contractors. It means you get a 1099, you don't get a W-2. You don't have withholdings and taxes taken out of your pay weekly. You pay it yourself. You're fully responsible for paying your own taxes, and those add up. So it's really important. Is that better to be an independent contractor than an employee? Not always. The reason why sometimes being an employee is more advantageous is what's called the self-employment tax. And if you're not aware of what that is, it's the tax that they tax you on Medicare and FICA. And that comes out to 15.3% a year on your first $110,000 worth of income. And when you're an employee, you don't even see it because your employer pays half of that for you. And you pay the other half, and they withhold it from your pay. You don't sometimes even know it's actually being done. But as real estate agents, you end up paying that 15.3% as an add-on on top of your federal income tax and your state income tax on your tax returns when they're due on April 15th. So for real estate agents, it's much more important to make sure you're claiming all the deductions you possibly can take. Employees don't have a lot of deductions because their employer is usually paying for most of their deductions, and the IRS expects that. Most employees who try to claim a lot of deductions are getting audited because the IRS believes that employees shouldn't have to pay for their own expenses. Employers should be paying those. So as an independent contractor, you file a separate schedule on your tax return. It's called a Schedule C. I'm sure most of you are aware of that. And you report your gross income, which usually ties out to your 1099, and you deduct all your expenses. That net amount of income, you pay 15.3% tax on top of your other income taxes. After the self-employment tax is taken out, then you get to deduct your mortgage interest, your itemized deductions, and get to your bottom line taxable income, where you might pay 28% federal and 9.3% state. But easily, your marginal rate can be over 50% as a real estate agent. And the reason that is the average taxpayer is paying roughly around 28% is their marginal income tax rate. State is 9.3, and the self-employment tax is 15.3, so you're over 52%. So what can we do to help mitigate those high tax costs? Most of you guys are probably paying quarterly, and if you're like my clients, you're coming to me in April and saying, I didn't make any of my quarterly payments. Please do the best you can because I can't afford to pay any taxes right now. And I'm saying, really? That's why you're supposed to pay those quarterly so that you can afford it on April 15th. But if you're like that, it's really important to claim all the deductions that are legally in the system that's there for you allowed to take. And I'm not going to go over all the different things. I gave you a little gift, a checklist of most of the common expenses real estate agents have. I'm not going to go over all those because it would be quite boring. They're usually common sense. Technically, anything you spend money on that helps you earn a living should be deductible. Remember that. So if something you're spending money on is going to help you list a house or sell a house or potentially find a buyer or seller, you can deduct those expenses. And then we're going to get into some gray areas. And this is the first time I've spoken in a long time in front of a live camera, so I've got to watch myself when I talk about those gray areas because I guess it's a permanent record there, and I don't want my clients to get audited by Uncle Sam more than they should be. Some of the deductions that real estate agents incur that they don't always claim are items like home office deductions. There are special deductions for claiming automobile expenses. The national average of expenses for real estate agents total 54.43% of their income. So check back on your Schedule C. If you didn't claim at least 54.3% of expenses to your gross income, maybe you missed something. These are advertising, 4.89%. Car expenses are close to 10%. Business use of a home is only 1%. That's one of the areas that I wanted to talk about, is why is that so low? And I think it's because most real estate agents are being told by their accountants, don't claim office and home, it raises a flag. Don't write off multiple cars in your business, it raises a flag. I'm here to tell you right now, if you have an accountant or tax preparer that's telling you, let's not take that, it raises too many flags, you probably should leave that accountant. Because if you are not taking deductions that you are legally allowed to take, you're leaving money on the table. And that you shouldn't be doing. Unless you're being so fraudulent in all the other expenses you're deducting that you can't have an audit, then maybe that makes sense. But if you're an honest tax-paying citizen, you're deducting all your proper expenses, don't listen to somebody who says, don't take that, it's going to raise a flag. Office and home expenses are allowed when you have an office in your house, even if you have an office here at HomeSmart where you're doing some of your work. If you have an office in your home where you're regularly using it and exclusively using that space for your business, you can deduct office and home. Technically, it needs to be things that you need to do at home that you really can't do in your business office, but that's easy usually to come up with. Maybe you're using your garage to make signs or something like that, or you're preparing for open houses and you're using a part of your house exclusively for that. You can write off that square foot. What you do is you take the total square footage of your house, you figure out what the square footage you're using exclusively for business. If it's 10%, you can take 10% of your rent, 10% of your property taxes, 10% of your utilities, 10% of your insurance, and you can depreciate 10% of your house. And that sometimes amounts to some considerable tax savings. So definitely consider it. If you're not considering it already, make sure you do. Another area that really can help you save tax dollars is hiring your children in your business. If you don't have children right now, I'm sorry, but work on that. Hiring children in your business are a huge tax savings. If you pay your child $5,000 to do business work for you, that child will file a tax return and pay virtually zero taxes on that $5,000. As a self-employed person, you're not required to withhold Social Security on children under 18. So you're going to save $5,000. Excuse me, I need to drink some water. You're going to save $5,000, get a deduction for paying your child a salary to do honest labor, and we're going to get to that in a minute, what honest labor is. But a $5,000 deduction to you, if you're in a 52% tax bracket, is over a $2,500 savings in tax per child. And they're going to pay zero taxes because they get a standard deduction, and you don't have to pay payroll taxes on a child under 18 that works for you in your sole proprietor business. If they're over 18, we're going to have to withhold some FICA taxes, but it's still going to be well worth the tax savings to do that. What can children do for you in your business?
Make signs.
Make signs. They can dust off signs. Keep track of your records. Organize your files. Alphabetize them. You have vacant listings that might need lawns to be mowed. They can mow the lawns for your vacant listings. All these things are good. Now, if they're going to be working on vacant listings, just make sure that they don't use the house for hookups, because it went right over Mike's head. Because I noticed on I noticed yesterday on Facebook that I guess hooking up in a vacant listing is not appropriate.
Apparently in Texas it's illegal.
Okay, there you go. So if you're going to give your teenagers access to vacant listings, make sure that they're chaperoned properly. But these are all the things that children can be doing to work for you in your business, and at great tax savings to you. If you have children, usually my safety age is around 12 to 18 is a good age. When they're in college, they can work for you. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit less tax savings than $2,500 on the $5,000, but it still could be as much as $1,500, so it's well worth it. Young ages, there are Department of Labor laws that kind of hinder the amount of work that a small kid is really legally allowed to be paid. But there are other types of ways to pay them too. There could be modeling fees for doing brochures and putting them on your home signs or something like that. There's all kinds of creative ways that we can find how to pay our children to be able to save tax dollars. Any questions on that? $5,000 is just kind of a rule of thumb I use for reasonableness, and that's one thing. You have to be reasonable. You can't pay a 12-year-old $10,000 a year for working, a few hours a week helping you clean signs. So you have to be reasonable. You have to be smart, but it's well worth the tax savings to do that. You can actually have the checks deposited directly into an account and have a Roth IRA plan set up, and you can put $5,000 into a Roth IRA, and that will grow tax-free for them and help pay for their college education when they're ready to go to college. So there's a lot of different strategies. I wasn't going to get into that right now because time is going to be of the essence here pretty quickly, and I know there's a lot of other important things I want to go over with you guys. As far as the automobile write-offs, it's probably the #1 write-off for real estate agents. Obviously, you're driving a lot, you're showing houses, you're looking for listings. Most of the questions I get are, should I buy or should I lease? And it's a difficult question. I need to know all the facts. I need to know how many miles you're going to drive. I can show you that leasing high-end vehicles will oftentimes be a better way to go than buying. You get to write off the business percentage. Say you drive a car 80% for business. You get to write off 80% of the lease payment versus owning a car and depreciating it. Depreciation rules are very limited. And most passenger vehicles, you only get maybe a $3,000 write-off per year depreciating it, where a lease payment, 80% of a lease payment could come out to a lot bigger tax write-off. But there are penalties if you're going to drive too much and you get hit with the lease penalties a lot of the manufacturers have right now or the dealers have. It could be cost non-effective. But one other area in the car area that is not well known, but is known, is the heavy SUV law. And I know a lot of the agents in Santa Clarita drive big SUVs. You know, a lot of times you have to put the signs in those cars. There's a reason to do it. You're taking a lot of people to go look at a house. If your SUV weighs over 6,000 pounds, then it's not really even considered a passenger vehicle anymore, and the depreciation rules are very laxed in this area. It allows you to write off a lot more than you can on a passenger vehicle. If you take a $100,000 SUV that weighs over 6,000 pounds, you're allowed a $25,000 immediate write-off, 50% of the remaining balance as bonus depreciation, and then 20% of the rest over 5 years. So you can easily write off about $65,000 of a $100,000 SUV in year one. And oftentimes my clients will go on the last day of the year, December 31st, which is actually a really good day of the year because you could say every bit of driving you did that day was for business, call it 100% business use, and you could take that $65,000 for that year just by having it one day. So that's a really good piece of information to know. If you're really a green person, you don't want to pollute the environment because of the gas guzzling qualities of these vehicles, and that might not be for you, but obviously a lot of our congressmen in this country own these big SUVs because they've allowed this rule to stay in place now for many, many years, and it's still one of the biggest tax loopholes available. So
Escalades for Christmas.
there you go. Yeah. But be careful. BMW made a big mistake one year, and their was it X5 came out to 5,995 pounds. Can you believe that? Oh. Yeah. The very next year it was over 6,000, but the one year everybody bought them, they were not allowed to take that write-off. Yeah. It's gross vehicle weight.
So
yeah. No, and it's usually if you open your door on the passenger door, there's a metal plate, and it will list that gross vehicle weight on there. That's where you can look to see how heavy the car is. Yeah.
heavier wheels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, no. But if you're if you're putting something on a trailer that's being used for business, the trailer can be written off as well. So there's no rules as far as depreciating trailer. You can write off a full trailer. I have many clients who own mobile homes and say it's their on-site office where they're working. So, there's ways to get around a lot of the rules, but we need to be reasonable. That's what we need to be doing. I also want to let you know here today that I've been in business for 30 years. My practice is on the old road between Lyons and Calgrove. It's called Friedman, Thompson & Company. And I'm a tax specialist, and real estate is my specialty niche. So I have a lot of real estate agents as my clients. And a lot of real estate agents, they want to form a relationship, and they want, a referral source back and forth. And I'm not here today to promise that to you. That would be virtually impossible for me. But what I've found that's been helpful for all my real estate agents that I do business for is I want to become a resource for them. And now that I'm working with HomeSmart, and you're working with HomeSmart, if you give any one of your clients that has tax questions, and we're going to go over some of those questions in a second, because the tax questions you're going to get hit with are, what's the capital gains tax going to be if I sell this home? And if I haven't been there a full 2 years, what's going to happen? Am I going to have to pay the full amount of taxes? Give them my number, and I will answer their questions the best I can over the phone, completely free for you. So please use me as a resource. I'd be happy to do that. What's in it for me is a lot of times those people are new to the area because you're selling them a home. I'll give them an answer to a question, and they'll keep my number, and they'll come use me for taxes later. So that's what I want to offer to you today as a resource. Please use me as a resource. I'm very knowledgeable in all areas of real estate, 1031 exchanges, capital gain exclusions, rental properties, all those issues that you're going to come across. A point I want to make about capital gains exclusions, do we still have time? Yeah. Okay. The number one question that I get from real estate agents as my client is they want to sell their house. They heard that they can exclude up to $500,000 of capital gain from their taxes if they've lived in the house 2 of the last 5 years, but they've only been there a year and a half, and they're worried that they're going to pay a lot of taxes. And what is not well known is that there are some exceptions to the hard, fast rule that you have to live there 2 of the last 5 years, or even own 2 of the last 5 years. There are allowable exclusions the IRS has come up with, and they usually are supposed to be based on unforeseen circumstances. And if you have a couple that's got married and bought a new home, didn't plan on getting pregnant, and then ends up getting pregnant and determine their house is too small for them, and they need a bigger house, that's actually one of the exceptions allowable by the IRS to be able to sell your house early and still use the capital gain exclusion. Now, what does that mean? If you live there a year, can you still exclude $500,000? No. You have to do a proration. A year is half of 2 years, so you can exclude $250,000. Now, let me be clear. The exclusions are based on individuals, so an individual person can exclude $250,000, but a married couple can combine that and exclude $500,000. Gina. Every 2 years, yes. So there's a lot of times where somebody's lived in their house for 2 years, or they sold a prior home that they lived 2 out of 5 years, but for the last 3 years they were renting it out. Just bought a new home, and they sold that house, took the exclusion. They have to wait 2 more years now from the time they bought the new house to be able to use that exclusion again. But there are a lot of construction workers right now that they've turned this into their career. They buy a fixer-upper, they move in, they do all the work in it. That's all they do for 2 years is fix up their house, add rooms to it while they're living there. 2 years later, they sell it for a $500,000 increase in value, exclude the entire gain, and they just made $500,000 tax-free, and they move into a new house and do it all over again. So keep that in mind if you ever want to start flipping homes. It's something you possibly can do. As far as other reasons for exclusions, there are many of them. So you want to call me up and I can research this. But we can also even try to plan possibly and see. Sometimes there's an exclusion available and they don't even know it. They could be in a war with their neighbor and there's police reports being filed, and they can say they're in fear for their safety because of these complaints being made, and they need to move. And that's another reason to be able to do that. So death in the family is an automatic exclusion, and there's many more, but it's really important. There are times where home values can rise $100,000, $200,000 in less than a 2-year period, and you might have done some work in it which helped increase the value too. So taking advantage of that early exclusion is very important. Any questions?
Can you talk about can you tell us if we should be incorporated or not?
That's a good question you brought up. A lot of my real estate agents that have teams of employees are S corporations. The new flavor of the day is the LLC, which I don't know that I recommend to real estate agents at this time, but it's something we need to go over all the facts and circumstances. If you're just starting up as a real estate agent, there may be some advantages to be an S corp, but you want to sit down. There are costs associated with incorporating. And those costs are, there's an $800 minimum fee to the state of California to incorporate. There's a cost of doing another tax return, and a corporate tax return is going to cost you anywhere from $750 to $1,500 probably to prepare that return. And that's an annual basis. So there's an extra $2,000 every year just to be an S corp. There's going to be an incorporating fee that you're going to pay an attorney, which can range anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 to set up that corporation. So there's a lot of sunk costs in doing that, but there could be a lot of benefits down the road. I like to say in my practice that I don't ever tell my clients to make a decision purely based on tax ramifications. This is more of a legal issue, and you want to incorporate to protect your personal assets from potential lawsuits. And I'm not allowed to practice law because I'm not an attorney, so I really can't go into too much detail what that means. What I can tell you from experience is if you commit malpractice or gross negligence of your own, your corporate veil can still be pierced and they can go after your personal assets. But if you have employees working for you, and this is where I almost always recommend to my clients who have employees to incorporate. Employees that are working for you, maybe showing a house, could run over a kid in a crosswalk, and the owner of the business is going to be sued as well as the person who actually committed the negligence. And if you're a corporation, the corporation will normally protect you for third-party type of negligence that wasn't your own. So that's a very valuable piece of information. That kind of stuff can happen quite frequently. You don't know what happens with somebody that's working for you, what they might be doing with somebody somewhere that you're not aware of. Potential employee lawsuits that come up. California is such a high litigious state right now that employee lawsuits are probably the #1 filed legal action in California right now. And you can avoid a lot of those potential liabilities by being incorporated. So now there are some potential ways to save taxes. They involve being having very aggressive tax planning. The IRS doesn't like it right now because people were setting up S corporations. And so you understand, I told you pay income tax and self-employment tax on all your net income being a sole proprietor. An S corporation, you have to pay yourself as a salary. Any income that you make that's over your salary is called a distribution. Those distributions are subject to income tax, but not the self-employment tax. So a lot of CPAs are setting up S corporations and having their clients pay themselves maybe 50% of their income in salary and saving the self-employment tax on the other 50% that you have to pay as a sole proprietor. IRS got wind of that, and they're issuing letters with you can get one when you start up your S corp, and it's going to say you're required to take a reasonable salary. And they've determined reasonable salaries. If you're all alone in your business and you made $100,000 profit, they're expecting you to take $100,000 salary. So it's not going to have that great a tax savings for you. Now, if you have one person working for you and you can say that person earned a lot of the profit that you're keeping in your pocket, you can pass that through as a distribution and avoid it. So there's still planning strategies here. Think legal terms first. If you have a lot of personal assets that you need to protect, you need to incorporate yourself, especially if you have people working for you. But if you do want to work in the gray areas and be as aggressive as you possibly can, we can help save you taxes by incorporating as well. I hope that answers your question.
Totally.
Okay.
Another question.
Yes.
This weekend, since I'm a real estate agent, I spend a certain amount of my time working in my business. I'd like to go look at a rental property in Lake Tahoe. Is that tax deductible since that's my business?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I did have some notes in here about gifts and travel as well, because those are other areas of deductions that real estate agents usually try to take advantage of. And yes, there are ways to write off your vacations as business deductions, but you need to make those vacations appear to be primarily business. And how do you do that? Because the law says if you have a trip that's primarily business, you can write off all the expenses associated with that trip. And the law also says, but you're allowed to have personal pleasure on those trips for business as well, and it doesn't nullify the deduction. So part of they used to say you needed to have meetings on more than 50% of the days you're away, and they've kind of got a lot easier lately than that. They're not tightly restricted that way anymore. But if our real estate agents, at a minimum, if you are taking a trip somewhere and you intend to write it off as a business trip, at a minimum, you need to probably visit a couple real estate offices out there, grab a couple listings, talk to some people here that are interested in possible buying vacation homes or rental properties in Hawaii or something like that, and go get some listing information and discuss it when you get back with some people that you know, and I'm sure you guys can reasonably make that trip a business trip. Does that help answer your question? There isn't any, the IRS they're putting a cap on, you know, cruises and foreign travel, they're really cracking down on. But any domestic travel, which includes Hawaii, it's very easy for a real estate agent to make a business trip out of a family vacation. And bringing your family doesn't nullify that either as a business vacation. You're allowed to bring your family as well, as long as the primary focus is business. And like I said, go look at some listings, get some information on listings, hand out that information to some of your clients when you get back, and you're on your way. You're on your way to converting that vacation trip to a business trip. What was that? Airfare, travel, hotel. Now, you may be limited to if your spouse is not working with you in your business, and you bring your kids as well, you're probably not going to be able to write off their airfare, but the hotel room, you obviously can write off the whole amount, the meals, and yeah. So, as far as meals and entertainment goes, I want to give you a little tip as well. Anybody you go out with, obviously, as a real estate agent, could become a potential client for you. So what constitutes a tax-deductible meal and entertainment? It's really a difficult area of the law. The IRS says you don't even have to substantiate expenses under $75 anymore. So they may want to make sure that you are actually seeing people and not taking your spouse out every week, every night. But make sure you have 2 separate credit cards. Have one credit card you use primarily for business, or only for business, and the other one you use for personal purposes. And all I'm going to say is just make sure on your birthdays and on Valentine's Day and on Christmas and on those special holidays you use that personal card for your expenses. I'm not going to tell you what to do on all the other days with your business card, but like I said, anybody you meet with or have dinner with could potentially be a client, so consider that a potential tax deduction. And I want to say one more thing as far as gifts go. There's a rule about gifts that the IRS says you can't deduct more than $25 per gift per person. And you know today that that amount's so antiquated. It's how do you find a gift under $25 these days? So there's ways around that as well, and you got to be careful and you got to be smart. Cutco knives, which I think you're going to hear from today, you know, they're definitely more than $25, and if you give those away as a gift to clients you sell a home to, if you put your name and get your name engraved on those knives, you've now converted, in my opinion, what's considered a gift to a promotion. And that's your key here, is you want to be able to say this is a promotional expense, not a gift. Flowers that are going to die in a week, that don't maybe even have your card on it, might be a little bit harder to get away with. But if you have something that has your name and address on it, and it's going to be, you know, the intention is somebody's going to continue looking at that name and address and potentially refer you business down in the future, those gifts are now considered promotional and marketing, and that's 100% deductible. So, anything else?
I think that was a heck of an intro into the life of a real estate agent. All right, so 3 takeaways from that. Escalade for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
HomeSmart Mastermind in Palm Springs. And what was the third one? Oh, yeah, my corporate card buys Salt Creek most of the time. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, man.
I sure
Thanks for having me here.
So I think he gave you guys cards. I think it would be cool.
My cards are up here if you guys are interested in taking them. Like I said, I'd like to be a resource for you and answer your clients' questions whenever they give me a call. So remember to use me if you need to. If you have your own person,
for questions afterwards?
I will be around here as long as you want me to.
All right. Who in the room likes scripts and dialogues? Raise your hand high. Do you like it when they work really well? Yeah. So I had the great pleasure the other day to hear one of the best scripts from one of the best salespeople I've ever heard. Before I do that, I want to tell you a quick story. We all know Michael Hellickson, our coach. We had a mastermind in Atlanta. He gave me one of these knives, this exact color, everything. I brought it home, and it is now my favorite knife. The other night, I made thick carne asada. I used this to cut. I was smearing stuff on like a spatula, And I was saying, this is now my new favorite knife. It goes through things like butter. And mine actually says, you know, Club Wealth Coaching, all that stuff on there. So tax-wise, it was pretty cool. Now, Deanna's been trying to get in this office a long time, right? And I don't normally let people in the office, but this one script that you're going to learn today and what she says is well worth her. And before I introduce her, thank her for lunch. So Deanna Scortino, come on up. We thank you so much for being a smart partner.
Thank you.
And then if you please do that script, and everybody write it down, record it, make sure you have it, because it'll make a difference in your career.
I will do that.
Deanna, can you grab them?
Oh, sorry, the microphone, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, all the people there were, oh, I can't hear.
perfect. Okay, so they can hear through this. Perfect.
They watching you can hear you, and now they can hear you just because you're talking loud.
Cool. Okay.
We're talking to hundreds of real estate agents right now.
Yikes. I like it. Okay. Well, my name is Deanna Scortino. I work with a lot of you. Thank you guys for all your support. If directors Martin Scorsese and Quentin Tarantino had a baby, I'd be the baby Scortino. That's my last name. So now you can all remember. All right, so a lot of you know what we do. To summarize, according to NAR, only 9% of the population can name their agent after 2 years. So 9% can remember you. So if you don't have an active system in place for your business, constantly reminding your clients of who you are and how hard you've worked for them to get these closings and to retain them as clients, this is something we help with. And we do it with an amazing product called Cutco. The 3 things you have to know: it's made in America, guaranteed forever, and you can write off the whole thing. That'll summarize my normal pitch, and there you have it. I want to get to this gift script. You guys liking it so far? All right. At the end of the day, you guys are spending the money either way. You might as well get the full tax benefit for it, and might as well stick around past Christmas. Think of how many gifts you've received. Name one gift you have from 10 years ago you still see and use every single day. Think about that. Think about your wedding gift. Think about your gift when you turn 16. Do you still have that? Do you still see and use it every day? If you don't, this is the way to go. And I only say that because my grandmother's had hers since 1955, her Cutco. She still sees and uses it. She's 91 years old. All right, for the script, you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. Now, before you give a gift, if this is going to be a closing gift, do not give it on closing day. Give it a week or 2 after closing when they're in the house you sold them. They're more in present time. They can appreciate you more. And if this is a holiday gift, the best week to give this is no later than Thanksgiving. Do not give this around Christmas with everything else or Hanukkah. Be different. Plan ahead. I am so excited you guys are learning about holidays today. Here we go. Oh, and you want to hold it with you like this. So they don't see what it is. You're just coming over. You're in their kitchen. They're excited. And you say, hey, I wanted to give you something to show my appreciation. I know I could have got you a lot of things, like a Home Depot gift card because you have a lot of work to do on this house, or just some cake or chocolate to help you celebrate. But those are gone and forgotten about so fast. That is not the impression I want to leave with you as your realtor for life. These are such high quality, you will literally be able to use them for the rest of your lives. They're guaranteed forever, made in America, and you can even pass them down to your children. Let this be a reminder that I am forever at your fingertips for all your real estate needs. And, you lean in, I even look forward to building you an entire set through future transactions and referrals. So thank you very much. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'll be in the back. Mic drop. I'm going to break this nice, expensive thing. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll hang out in the back. You guys at least come give me your card today. We are doing $100 for any order placed today and reorders. We bill you over 5 months. You remember how it works. It's great. Thank you guys for not only supporting me, but also buying American Made. When we do that, all of us do better, and we all buy and sell and help people buy and sell more homes and keep our jobs here in the United States where they belong. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Was this a good Lost to Found in 90 Days edition? Yes. You want to hear what's next week?
Yes.
I don't remember. But do you agree? Do you agree that sitting in this room you retain better than watching online? Those of you that are sitting in here are retaining over 50% more than you guys watching on TV. Those of you that have taken notes have up to 75% of a retention rate for at least 30 days. So I'd say let's go back, let's revisit, and I will beat the heck out of you guys with this holiday stuff as we go. We might have some contests, we might do something, but I want to hear, I want to see, I want to help, and I want to make sure you guys are doing these things because I'd like to see you all make 120 grand in December because I've proven it's possible when I was 19, 20 years old. So I think you guys can do it. I know you guys can do it, and I'd like to help you through that. So will you guys commit to making a holiday plan today? Yeah. All right, give yourself a round of applause. Thank you guys for being here.